Hi everyone, it's Jules with Jules Reads. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to have you subscribe and like this video if you like this. So I thought what would be fun would be to tell you about what my personal book club's picks were for 2023. So I will go through what they are. I'm not going to talk a lot about each book just because there's 12 of them. We do one for each month. And then our theme, or how we pick our books, is there's 5 of us in the group, and one person will pick the theme for the next person the next month to pick. So there's always a theme around the month, and then the person has to pick a book based on that theme. So for January, the theme that was given was a movie or TV adaptation. And so the book that was chosen was A Man Called Ove. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. So we ended up going to see the movie A Man Called Otto together after we read this in January, the one with Tom Hanks. And I did watch the original Swedish movie. Absolutely love the original, but I also love the Tom Hanks Hollywood version as well. And this book warms my heart. I loved it. I am currently reading another Fredrik Backman novel, and I'm loving that book as well. He just has a way of having comedy in there, but also really genuine feelings and emotions. So I just like the combination of just, you have a little bit of comic relief, but also there's just a warm, touching feeling to it. I cried in this one, bawled my eyes out at the movie A Man Called Otto. When we saw it in the theater together, all of us were bawling, but really loved this one. I will tell you at the end which ones were my favorite for the year. So the next book for February, the theme, and I'm looking over here to my computer, the theme that was chosen for February was a pretty or interesting cover. And so the book that was selected for this is The High House by Jessie Greengrass. And I listened to this one on audio. This was not one of my favorites though. It's just kind of a dark, not dark, but kind of dreary book. It just wasn't my favorite. So I don't really recommend this one. I do love the cover. I think that is a crane, and it's a reflection. It is a really cool cover. But wasn't my favorite. It was just too kind of dreary and meh to me. I guess I would say the word is meh. For March, our theme was murder mystery, and then the book that was selected was 7 Moons of Molly Almeida. And this one also won the Booker Prize of 2022. I think all of us ended up not finishing this one. I do definitely want to go back to this one. So our book club is definitely one of those book clubs that, you know, whether we read the book or not is a little up in the air. And we like to just get together and have a good time. We're all friends, and we like to go to dinners, to brunch. And we will talk about the book for a split second, but most of the conversation is about other things. So I don't know that any of us finished it. I was really enjoying it. I don't know. I just got onto something else like my brain does, and then I couldn't get back into it. But I do want to get back into this one. There is one in here that I'm not going to get back into. I did DNF it, but this was the book for March. That cover is amazing. I love it. Then for April, the theme that was given was a bunny in the title or on the cover. As you can guess, the book that was chosen was Bunny by Mona Awad. I read it. I don't know what the F happened in this book. This is not, this is so many people's favorite book. I don't get it. I just don't get the hype. Not my favorite, but to each their own. I always say you do you, boo. So I still don't really understand what happened. I guess I'm a more black and white person. I don't like kind of the gray area. So not the book for me, but it is a cute cover again with the bunny, but not for me. So the theme that was selected for May was just to pick a C.S. Lewis book. I had never read a C.S. Lewis book, so I was excited to do that. And the book that was chosen is Out of the Silent Planet. And this is definitely on the sci-fi lines. And I enjoyed it. It's pretty thin and pretty short. I enjoyed it. I'm remembering now here back. I'm like, I don't remember much about it. And I did read this kind of back to back with, was it Octavia Butler's what's her main, I'm drawing a blank. I'll post it here if I can think of it. Hold on, found it. Dawn. So I read these back to back, and so I'm getting them a little confused. I definitely remember what this one's about, but I think this is just kind of a lonely planet, but I think it's a person. I don't know. I don't remember. So I don't, I did read the back. It's still not ringing any bells, but I did remember I enjoyed my experience with it, but for some reason, sometimes books, a lot of times, even movies for me, once I read it, it's out of my brain and I'm on to the next thing. So I don't know that I'm a great movie or book reviewer, but I do love books and love to talk about them, but I have to talk about them like immediately after I read them, unless it's like a favorite and then it's in here real good. But I enjoyed my experience with it. I don't know that I'd read another C.S. Lewis. It wasn't as great for that. I don't know what I'm saying. People, I'm new to this. Give me a break. Okay. So June, the theme is a color. So it either has to have a color. I think it had to have color in the title. So the book that was chosen is Greenwood by Michael Christie. And as you can see, I DNF'd it about halfway through, a little over halfway through. And this is an epic story that takes place over many years. Think of the tree lines and just how many years that takes to get the lines and that many generations of the tree growing. So it does take place over, I think it's like 100 years. I did DNF it. I am definitely under the philosophy, if you're not enjoying a book or having a good time, put it down. There is a book, no. So there was a book I felt like this year I was going to come back to. Oh, the 7-Year Slip. That one I will definitely come back to. It's not a permanent DNF, but I just wasn't enjoying it at that time. I definitely think too, you have to read a book at the right time. And this was not the right time for me to read this, but it was, a lot of people really enjoyed this in our book club. So the theme for July was the author's initials had to be CK, because that was the girl that was having to choose the book. That's her initials. So that was actually a really hard one for her. But we ended up settling on Foster by Claire Keegan, and I am so thankful that this was the book and that we discovered Claire Keegan together. I've now read another one of her books, and she is becoming one of my favorite authors, but she does write really short books. I don't know that you call it a short story. If it was a normal page size, it'd probably be about 50 pages. But this one, oh, and I just found out there's a TV show or a movie based on it. So I am going to have to check that out. Claire Keegan, I think, is Irish, and I absolutely loved this book. The theme for August was it had to be a book that takes place in Minnesota because we are in Minnesota. So the book that was chosen is Ordinary Grace by William Kent Kruger. I believe all of William Kent Kruger's books take place in Minnesota, and I absolutely loved this book. There were parts in it that I was like, oh, that's why it's called Ordinary Grace. And I think sometimes when you're reading a book and you realize why it's called what it's called, it's kind of mind-opening or mind-boggling or mind something. And it affected me. And I did listen to this on audio. The last probably few chapters I did listen to the audio and read it because I knew this is going to be one of my all-time favorite books, and so I wanted to kind of have that experience. And so now, this is my first William Kent Kruger. I don't know why this is the first time reading him, even especially because he's from Minnesota, lives in St. Paul, and I live very close to St. Paul, but I definitely want to read more from him. And the last part of the book I won't say, but it is emotional, and there were some tears shed in this book. So this is a favorite. I highly recommend it. I think I mentioned this in my first video I ever posted here on YouTube of the favorite that I've read so far this year. The theme for September was the book had to have the word book. The title had to have the word book in it. And so the book that was chosen is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And loved this. I had also never read a Neil Gaiman book, so I want to read more from him. And I loved this book. And The boy in this warms my heart. He's called Bod for Nobody. And I absolutely loved him, and he basically is raised by the ghost in the graveyard. Love, love, love this book. Highly recommend. Theme for October was spooky, and the book that was selected is The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. And I have not even read this one yet, haven't even opened it. So I failed for October, and surprisingly, because I love spooky books. The theme for November had to be about a lake. Or I don't know if it was about a lake or a lake on the cover, but the book that was selected was The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. And this is a really large novel. I think it's over 700 pages. I did listen to this one on audio. It is read by the author. I did really like it. My only complaint is that it's too long. Sometimes when books are this long, I'm confused as to why it needed to be this long. But I did really like it. Beautiful, stunning writing. And then the book for December, the theme was a book that's been translated. And so the book that was selected was Daughter of Fortune by Isabel Allende? Not sure how to say that. And I have not even started this one. It's December, so I have a couple weeks until we meet for book club, and I do plan on picking this up soon. So those are our book club book picks for 2023. We've already selected our first two for 2024, and I'm really excited about them. My favorites of this year was definitely Ordinary Grace by William Kent Kruger, Foster by Claire Keegan, and then probably The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. So those are, and A Man Called Uva. So those are my favorites of the year from our book club picks. Hopefully you got some ideas or inspiration for ways to run your personal book club. But anyway, thanks for watching.